Have you heard about the gorilla who could talk to people through hand signals, played gently with cats, had a wonderful sense of humor, knew over 1,000 words, and even learned the basics of operating a vehicle? What if I shared that this amazing gorilla thought deeply about dying and gave the world a haunting, final message before her death? Today, I want to tell you the extraordinary tale of Koko, the gorilla who completely transformed how we think about animal intelligence. On July 4th, 1971, America's Independence Day, a baby gorilla came into the world at San Francisco Zoo. Her name was Hanabiko, which means fireworks child in Japanese, but everyone called her the simple and loving name Koko. Back then, nobody could have predicted that this small gorilla would someday completely change what we believed animals could accomplish. Koko's beginning wasn't simple. When she was very young, she got sick and doctors had to take her away from her mother for treatment. Sadly, when they tried to bring her back, her mother wouldn't accept her. Left without family and feeling alone, Koko was put in a cage with gorillas she didn't know. Her only comfort came from a stuffed gorilla toy, which became like a replacement mother to her. She would hold it tight whenever she felt scared during those hard early days. Before going to Stanford, Koko lived in a cramped temporary space at San Francisco Zoo, with very little to keep her interested, making those first months especially difficult and lonely. But something amazing was waiting for her. In 1972, a young graduate student from Stanford University called Francine "Penny" Patterson became interested in Koko. Penny was doing her PhD research on how great apes communicate and wanted to teach a gorilla to use hand signals. At that time, people didn't think gorillas were very smart compared to other apes. Many also believed they were violent, which made scientists afraid to work closely with them. But Penny's work would question and eventually change these beliefs. The beginning of Kokos Learning was difficult. When you teach hand signals to a person, teachers can usually move the student's hands into the right shapes. But Koko wouldn't let anyone touch her hands. This meant Penny needed to try something different, carefully showing Koko things and doing the matching hand signal again and again, many times over. But it became clear that Koko had an amazing talent for learning. Unlike chimpanzees, who mostly learn by copying others, gorillas learn more on their own. Koko often changed signs or made up her own hand movements when she couldn't understand what to do. She also showed a thinking process like humans have when they think to themselves, sometimes making signs to herself as if she was talking in her head. The first sign she showed Penny meant drink, one finger touching her lips with the other fingers folded. As time went on, a strong friendship grew between the scientist and the gorilla. Koko was moved from the zoo to a special trailer laboratory built on the university campus. Even though she had her own space, she could go anywhere she wanted, including where Penny lived. For safety, there was a cage in the trailer, but they never had to use it. When she turned 3, Koko knew about 200 signs in American Sign Language. She didn't just learn what things were called, she could show her feelings and even talk about what she observed. For example, when she saw a picture of another ape getting ready for a bath and knowing she hated baths, Koko signed, "I cry there." When she looked at a horse with a bit in its mouth, she quickly signed, "Horse sad teeth." One of the most amazing things about how Koko communicated was her ability to be funny. Once, she playfully called herself a good bird and said she could fly, then told everyone she was just joking. Another time, she mischievously tugged on Penny's hair, then giggled and signed that she was sorry. These moments showed that Koko had what scientists call theory of mind, knowing that other creatures have thoughts and feelings that are different from her own. Koko also showed incredible skill with language creativity. When she didn't know what to call something, she made up a name by putting together words she already knew. For instance, she called Penny's ring a finger bracelet. Doesn't that make sense? A ring really does look like a tiny bracelet made for a finger. This kind of word-making happened in other situations too. When she first looked at a mask, she called it an eye hat. When she looked into an empty cup, she signed "Drink No." Koko even naturally grouped animals, once calling a swan a water bird, even though no one had taught her that word. She also created her own special name for ice cream, signing "Cold Candy." These examples showed that Koko wasn't just remembering signs. She really understood what they meant and could creatively put them together to express new ideas. Doubters said that Dr. Patterson was just training Koko like an animal performer. But the proof showed something different. When Koko was by herself, she played with her dolls and had long talks with them using sign language. She also tried to communicate in sign language with other animals. And when they didn't answer back, she even tried signing to things that weren't alive. Behavior that's hard to explain as just simple training. Based on different IQ tests, Koko's intelligence was thought to be between 70 and 90 points. This is lower than what most humans score, but still an incredible result for an animal. Koko could make drawings like a 4-year-old child, creating pictures of her favorite toys and things from her world. She even had a boyfriend, a male gorilla named Michael, who also learned several words in sign language. Later, another male gorilla, Andume, came to live with them. Together, they became the first pair of animals in history who could communicate using human language. And they didn't just use sign language to share bananas. Once, when Michael broke the leg off Koko's favorite doll, she got very angry and called him "dirty, bad toilet." One of the most beautiful parts of Koko's life was her strong love for kittens. For her birthday in 1984, she made a special wish. She wanted a cat as her present. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. Her caregivers brought her various homeless kittens to pick from. Koko looked at each one closely and finally chose a tiny, tailless gray kitten. She called him All Ball. Koko cared for the kitten like he was her own child. She gently carried him on her back, held him close, and even tried to feed him from her body. Even though she was huge, Koko was amazingly careful with her small companion, always being sure she didn't harm him. Sadly, later that year, All Ball got out of his safe space and was struck by a vehicle. Koko's response to losing her cherished pet shocked even experienced researchers. When someone told her the devastating news, she first sat quietly, seeming stunned. Then she started making quiet moaning noises, the low, mournful sounds that gorillas make when they feel grief. She made signs showing she was upset, wrinkled her forehead, and kept using "sad" and "bad." Putting her hands against her face, the gesture for "sleep," she kept signing "sleep cat," like she was trying to understand that her dear companion had gone to sleep forever. Following All Ball's death, Penny noticed that Koko kept making sounds like human weeping for many days. She wouldn't play and kept signing "sad." Koko also stopped eating much for a while and pulled away from others, showing deep sorrow. Through the years, she took in more kittens, like Smokey and Lipstick, proving her lasting love for taking care of small creatures. This capacity to feel loss and show sadness made Koko appear even more like a person. In the following years, Koko brought in more pet kittens. When she turned 44, she got 2 new kittens, naming them Miss Black and Miss Gray based on their coat colors. Clips of the huge gorilla softly petting tiny kittens became popular online, moving and amazing people everywhere. Koko was famous not just for being smart, but also for her special character and odd habits. For example, She had a weird interest in the human chest area. She showed strange interest in this body part and sometimes made gestures asking to look at it. In 2005, 3 workers who cared for Koko actually sued, saying they felt forced to agree to this odd request, which she made using sign language. Even with such problems, Koko showed amazing awareness of herself. When she was 19, she passed the mirror test for recognizing herself. Unlike most gorillas, who think their reflection is another gorilla, Koko right away knew it was her. She often looked at her own image in mirrors, showing more proof of her incredible self-knowledge. Koko also loved watching films, and her top movie was Tea with Mussolini. She liked TV and especially enjoyed Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When she met Fred Rogers face-to-face, she knew who he was right away and signed love while feeling his sweater. Koko even had a favorite story for bedtime, The 3 Little Pigs, which she liked having read to her before sleep. She was strongly affected by sad scenes in movies. When she watched the saddest moment in Tea with Mussolini, when the young boy leaves his family, Koko would look away, avoiding the scene so she wouldn't get sad. The movie Jurassic Park also made a big impact on her. The dinosaurs scared her so much that later, she didn't want to go near her toy dinosaurs. These times showed how deep Koko's feelings really were. As she became more famous, people became more fascinated with her. Her famous picture with all ball was put on National Geographic magazine's cover, becoming one of the most well-known images the magazine ever published. Many famous people came to see her, wanting to meet the amazing gorilla. One visitor was comedian Robin Williams, who quickly became close friends with her. A sweet video shows their meeting, with Koko playfully putting on Williams' glasses, asking him to tickle her, and making silly expressions together. Koko didn't just recognize Robin Williams when he came to visit, but she also remembered spending time with him whenever she saw him on television. She would get excited and sign his name when she saw him. When Williams sadly died in 2014, Koko's response was very touching. After learning the news, she became clearly upset, walking around looking down for the whole day. Her caretakers at the Gorilla Foundation said Koko also showed her sadness through sign language, making signs like cry and zad, and her unhappiness went on for days. She also became strangely quiet and kept to herself for some time, which wasn't normal for her. Usually energetic and talkative, Koko even wouldn't eat for several hours that day, acting unusually calm and thoughtful. Her caretakers saw that she seemed to understand how serious the loss was, almost like she was grieving in a very human way. Koko wasn't just able to talk using sign language. She also learned to use a special computer with pictures, letting her type words that the machine would then speak out loud. Her abilities went beyond language. She could hold a pen, choose things from a written menu, and even make simple drawings and written marks. Surprisingly, Koko even learned to play music instruments. She tried the harmonica, toy flutes, and a basic recorder. In 2012, scientists were amazed to see Koko blowing into a recorder and making sounds, something they thought was impossible for apes because of how their breathing system works. One of the most interesting things about Koko's character was her understanding of death. One day, a caregiver showed her a skeleton and asked if it was living or dead. Koko answered with the sign for dead. When asked where dead gorillas go, she peacefully signed comfortable whole, and then blew a soft goodbye kiss. Koko even asked her own questions about death, showing curiosity that went beyond just simple understanding. Once, when shown a skull and asked whose it was, she signed gorilla and then dead, showing she deeply understood that life ends. These moments made many people wonder just how deeply Koko understood the ideas of life and death. In her final years, Koko became like a spokesperson for nature. using her ability to communicate to ask people to take better care of the world and its animals. "Nature is watching you," she once signed. A spooky but strong message that made many people stop and think. It seemed like she felt responsible for her fellow gorillas still living in the wild. On June 19, 2018, just weeks before turning 47, Koko died peacefully while sleeping. In her final years, she had gotten some health problems that come with age, like joint pain and breathing troubles. Even so, she was surrounded by people who had taken care of her all her life and got constant attention. On the night she died, the staff at the Gorilla Foundation said she had spent a quiet day and had gone to sleep peacefully, showing no signs of being upset. Millions of people around the world felt sad about her death. The Gorilla Foundation, which had been created to support research and protection efforts, made a statement. Her impact will continue, helping shape how we understand the feelings and thinking abilities of gorillas. But before she left this world, Koko gave people a frightening message. Like she naturally understood human history, she signed words that make us think about the very heart of how we relate to nature. "I am gorilla. I am flowers, animals. I am nature. Man Koko love. Earth Koko love, but man stupid. Koko cry, fix earth, help earth. Nature see you, thank you." In her last days, Koko seemed to become more thoughtful, often signing love and good gorilla, like she was comforting herself and the people around her. Her story stays one of the most amazing examples of communication, emotion, and intelligence between different species ever documented. Did you enjoy this story? Do you agree with Koko's message that humans need to do better at taking care of the Earth? If you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Koko's story reminds us that animals are intelligent, capable of emotions, and able to communicate, just like us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day.